Hey, what's going on? This is another episode of the Reporter vlog for November 27th, 2023, on a Monday. Um, Titled this one, Homelessness in Louisville. Shout out to my friend for texting me this story. But it's sponsored by with the sponsor being WRB. Of course, let's get right into it. Homelessness in Louisville, a problem that's been around for a while, at least in the city. But we'll do the rest. We'll commentate on that after I read the story. Especially the foolishness of this story. Um, a group of Kentucky lawmakers wants to crack down on people sleeping in public and other places, charging them with criminal offenses if they refuse to leave. Wow. Wow. It says a lot in that first paragraph. Charging them with criminal offenses when you are the main, when they have a reason for sleeping out there. The street camping ban is just one of part of the wide-ranging proposal called the Safer Kentucky Act. The Republican legislators from Louisville unveiled in late September. They intended to file a bill when the General Assembly starts meeting in January. An early framework of the measure lays out goals that include making it illegal to camp on public streets and sidewalks and other public areas, as well as private property. Anyone doing so would have to leave or be physically relocated by the police or face misdemeanor charges that escalate with each incident. Plan is also wide shield. The plan is also would shield property owners from criminal offenses if any action taken to defend themselves from the from the aggressive actions when the camp is being cleared. Those camping could be charged with assault for any such aggression. Supporters say their approach is a public safety effort that pushes back against panhandling and crimes associated with street camps in Louisville and elsewhere. And they argue it doesn't foreclose others steps lawmakers can take to aid the organizations that help the homeless. Republican John Hogston, R. Fisherville, who represents part of the eastern Jefferson County, told WRB that the constituents approached him with safety concerns about people camping near their homes and businesses. He said there is nothing compassionate about letting people remain on the street indefinitely. They need treatment. They need to be in the rehab facilities. He said, and just saying we're going to let you stay on the street and hoping that there's going to be a better day is fantasy. They're going to spiral downward until eventually die. Until they eventually die, they're going to impact a lot of other people's lives negatively along the way. Austin acknowledged that the proposal might overlap with Kentucky's existing criminal trespassing laws, but we're just trying to make this crystal clear for the public as well as for those that are enforcing it. Some advocates from the homeless claim that Kentucky's plan and similar measures being adopted in the states are heavy-handed and don't address larger problems such as lack of affordable housing and why people are living outside in the first place. We want housing, not handcuffs for people, said Adrian Bush, executive director of the homeless and housing uh, Coalition of Kentucky. Bush, whose organizations supports state and federal policies, expand access to housing, and aim to end homelessness, noted in an interview that the public hasn't yet seen a draft of the legislation. But based on media reports, she said she is concerned about the potential criminal penalties for people who don't vacate a street camp. This type of legislation does seem to be proposed as a response to a rise in unsheltered homelessness, which is very real. Bush said, but to us, it doesn't fundamentally solve the problem. Those unsheltered are one of the hardest to reach segments of the global's homeless population. People who mostly live outside instead of staying there with friends or family are using emergency short term transitional housing. And their ranks are growing according to the data for the Louisville based Coalition for the Homeless. Its annual winter count, a snapshot taken each January, found 581 such people in early 2023, up from 243 during the same census in prior year, a 139% increase. The first draft of the GOP proposal is expected to be introduced at the December 15th meeting of the legislature's interim judiciary committee. During an interview earlier this month, Hawkinson said the initial version hasn't changed, except that backers plan to revise a section allowing local governments to have or outdoor areas set aside for camping and ensure those sites are zoned for residential use for our nearest schools. He said the legislation isn't an attempt to criminalize homelessness. The ultimate goal of the Safer Kentucky Act is to create safer streets, to create an environment where people are not being economically damaged by crime. He said they're not having fear while walking down the street. They're willing to go out with the children at night and go to the restaurant and not worry about being accosted. I'll be right with you. Write down what's in. To be sure, the GOP proposal identifies the problem, said State Rep Lisa Wilner, Democrat Louisville. But it's not the right solution. If we're talking about the people with severe mental illness who may be part of the unhoused population, then we're talking about a kind of a revolving door situation where we have people who are rotating from hospitalization to incarceration to homelessness. She said, and just because of a clinical psychological problem where the root causes are never being addressed. Wilner, who served as the state's severe mental illness task force, said not enough public policy has addressed the causes of homelessness. She notes that, for instance, a bipartisan bill she has sponsored this year to prevent utility shutoffs during extreme weather when heating and cooling bills can soar, then advance in the legislature. The Louisville Homeless Coalition has had really good conversations with the proposed legislation of sponsors that have included concerns and possible and unintended consequences, said George Ungland, the organization said education advocacy director. Ungland echoed other concerns about the proposal's criminal charges, creating another barrier to the homeless, people accessing help and ultimately getting into permanent housing. He also wonders how Ungland echoed other concerns about proposal criminal charges, creating another barrier to homeless people accessing help, ultimately getting into permanent housing. He also wonders how police would act. In Louisville, I would really, I would be really curious to see how it is going to be enforced. He said the Louisville Metro Police Department declined an interview request for this story. Should the proposal pass and become law, please circle back and revisit the subject with us, the spokeswoman Angela Ingram said in an email. Then we may be able to provide greater insight in an interview. The Louisville Metro Department of Corrections did not answer email questions asking whether its leader believed that the Safer Kentucky Act plan could worsen already documented issues with inmates and mental health concerns and contribute to overcrowding. The department deferred to Mayor Craig Greensburg's office. Kevin Traeger, a Greenberg spokesman, did not answer email questions about how the proposal, if enacted, would infect the police or the city's jail. Said he provided a written statement and said that chronic homelessness and large encampments create health and safety problems of those who are homeless, as well as neighbors and local business owners and patrons. Uh, Students, pedestrians, and more. Trader said the Greenberg administration is working to help the city's homeless, including through the planned community care campus in Old Louisville that would provide access to social services and help with housing needs. We are focused on making our cities, sidewalks, and parks and others public spaces safe and healthy for everyone, Trader said. Criminal activity will not be tolerated, regardless of how housing of housing status. After agreeing to comment initially for this story, the Louisville Association of Jailers did not respond to follow-up requests. The Farrell Burleson, who works to connect Louisville's homeless with the outreach of those living on the streets, scare tactics isn't exactly the way to get people to trust you to do something different. She said, because the main goal, the objective, is to get them to try something new. Belson said she has been homeless for years until getting sober in the summer of 2021 after a meeting of Sharon Algier, Alger, program manager of good of Goodwill's Another Way initial initiative, and focuses on offering people who panhandle a chance to make $50 for 5 hours work. But the program also helps to build relationships with the homeless. In her case, Burleson said the day she met Alger was a chance to change her life. At the time, she was done with life, exasperated from the inside out. Algeria now does the same outreach that she said helped her get her off the streets. There's not enough of us to go around, she said. How we only have so many of us. There needs to be more of us. If there was more of us, man, we could help. Republican Jared Bowman, Louisville, the main sponsor of the broader criminal proposal, said the supporters endorsed the work of the advocates and for the homeless are doing. We want them to be successful, he said. We're going to see potential another bill come out in the next session based on some of the meetings that we've had with groups like the Homeless Coalition in Louisville. But Bush, director of statewide advocates C group, said the reality now is that only one proposal has been made public, the one that could penalize people who sleep on the streets. What if they came up with another bill? She said the proof would be in the pudding at that point. The Kentucky proposal comes at other state legislatures have passed bills into law that levy criminal charges for homeless people who sleep outside. In Missouri, for instance, a new law makes it a misdemeanor to camp out on a state-owned land that someone refuses to move to any offered services or shelter. Texas lawmakers approved a similar bill in 2021. Tennessee lawmakers passed the bill into law in July 2022 that makes its camping on public property a felony offense. The legislation also created a misdemeanors penalty for people who camp near state or interstate highways or overpasses. As a result, it's been harder to reach out to those in need of help, said Catherine McGuire, executive director of the Tennessee Valley Coalition for the Homeless, which works with 12 eastern counties outside Knoxville. Folks are more disturbed or distrusting. They're a lot more fearful, right? She said because if they would be caught camping on public property, they could possibly end up in all sort of legal action or even just displacement in general. McGuire said, Lord, uh, McGuire said such laws make it easier for homeless people to be branded as criminals and dehumanized. It's really kind of scares us away from the fact that they are neighbors. They are human beings. She said. They are folks that still deserve compassion and dignity. They deserve to be treated just as you would treat them. Okay. Dr. Lowy. That's all Dr. Lamb. But I think they're picking up Clement, title with Lamb.
Lisa Spence and her daughter had a very close relationship. They talked
And Lowy, Dr. Messiah doing. Dr. Messiah doing. Now you just have Dr. Messiah doing. Oh, wow. There's no lamb. I typed it in, proper lamb in the search on the thing. It's just popping up everything with either with the title lamb in it. It's pretty much giving you the title the lamb. I'll be the first one. Yeah, that's the only way to pop on the right one. Don't put the proper lamb, Blue lamb, right there, my proper L-O-V-Y. I want to say 2 lambs for state service. Yeah.
And on October 14, 1991, Lisa gave birth to a little girl named Sterling. Lisa, her daughter, and her daughter, for this family, and when they shared love for the room, in time, the couple wanted different things. After so you were together for like 8 months or a year, she was talking about my mom.
The way you work from my one name office is proper loving. And
unfortunately, Lisa's personal life never quite detailed the way she hoped. She endured attending a failed relationship and a string of finally, Lisa found work in a local casino, which seemed to suit her bright outgoing personality. Her employer absolutely loved her. She would seem there not so much. She was a supervisor. So she loved her new job. Lisa still needed something more. She was ready for a withdrawal relationship with the guy. Oh, sorry, I gotta get another drink. Good night. One night in 2015, Lisa finally came calling in the form of a man named Paul Edwards. Paul looked like a teddy bear. He had a smile that was contagious. He's one of the nicest persons to come across. Stable man. He had a very push up. He was a correctional officer. From that night onward, Lisa and Paul became inseparable. In the months that followed, Paul always remember as the night started on the side. But in 2001, Paul took Lisa completely by surprise.
All right, where was it? It's really kind of scared. It really scared us away from the fact that they are neighbors. They are human beings. She said and they are folks that still deserve compassion and dignity. They deserve to be treated just as you would treat anyone else in your community. So is that basically is pretty much Louisville. Uh, in some ways, criminalizing homelessness. They know how to cover up, making it seem so nice and pretty, but deep down inside, it's really criminalizing the homelessness, like they pretty much said in the story. But I shoot the question to you, whoever picks up his story, whoever picks up his episode. Do you think Louisville is hearts in the right place, or do you think they are pretty much criminalizing or making a crime out of homelessness, pretty much? Uh, and but basically, this is Louisville that's will clean up his reputation. Louisville that's instead of doing the right things to clean up the problem, to straighten up the problem, they rather throw people behind jail for in some cases I don't know how you can describe a homelessness. In some cases, like I said, criminalizing homelessness and criminalizing something they can control. But not all is not every story is the same because sometimes people get mixed up in some bad things and which produces homelessness. And but uh, but like I said, I leave this question out to you because I'm gonna have to take a extra stage left. I swear I gotta get a secretary. But like I said, I'll leave this question out to you. Uh, do you think Louisville's heart's in the right place, or do you think they're truly criminalizing, like I said in the story, homeless people? Uh, but like I said, I understand if they're on private property or whatnot, uh, but when it gets to the streets, man. But it's one of those. He's but when you pretty much think about it, when it comes to these type of stories, they make great trivia questions. They really do. But I ain't gonna make them no trivia question right now. But I'm just gonna shoot the question to you. Do you think Louisville's like I said, do you think Louisville's heart is in the right place, or do you think they are pretty much making a crime out of homelessness? That's to clean up their reputation. Uh, instead of doing instead of spending some money on that to solve the problem. In other words, that's even better. Do you think it's an easy way? Do you think it's an easy just a easy way out for Louisville to keep Louisville from spending the money? Or do you think Louisville's heart is really in the right place? But that's part of these are one of these type of stories that's leave you thinking and leave you filled with a lot of questions. But it depends on what side you're on when it comes to these type of stories. Depends on what side are you on. But this is another episode. That's all I got for this one. This is another episode of the reporter vlog for November 27, 2023 on a Monday. Y'all have a good one. I'm out of here.